Hello, everybody, and welcome to a slightly belated episode of the Golden Ticket podcast, where your host, not your co-host, but your host, despite me doing the intro, Ashley, aka the Movie Oracle, and I will discuss the last three, not one, not two, but three episodes of her Are You a Movie Oracle game show, being that Ashley has been hospitalized. She's had people inside her, being doctors and surgeons, I mean, of course, like, hey, you know. Yeah, and so things have been delayed a little bit. Plus, you know, I've been a little busy. Like, it's been a bit hard to find time for us to sit down and talk. But look, I've quit my jobs. I've cancelled Netflix. I've sold my DVD collection. Just so I can be here today. All right, that's not true. And so, yes, today we're going to be discussing the last three episodes, episode 27, 28, 29, and this time around, I have actually done my research. I have literally 15 minutes ago finished watching all three episodes, so I don't sit here going, what's a movie, Oracle? As I sometimes tend to do when I watch an episode like a week beforehand, and by the time we do this thing, of course, I have no idea what's going on. So, Ashley, the host, not the co-host, how are you doing?
I'm fine. That might be your best intro yet. That was some impressive
fucking good
work.
Yeah, I know.
You're on such like an adult kick right now. I mean,
What?
you're working super hard. You're
yeah.
doing so many professional things. Like, I almost I was actually starting to think, wow, this guy's actually a grown-up, which I usually don't think about you.
Don't ever do that. I've got my rainbow multicolored wall. I've got my Harley Quinn hockey jersey. I have this hair. Like, you know, I'm growing this thing. Look at this. Look how long it is now. Look at that. I could almost braid this thing. That's.
How long do you intend for that to get?
I have no plans. I didn't even mean for this to happen in the first place. Like, it just, you know, during the pandemic, it was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to, like, dye my hair green, or am I going to shave my eyebrows off? Or, because, you know, you can get away with doing crazy shit that you've always wanted to do. And then, I don't know, I just thought, oh, I'll just grow a little thing. And then, it just kept going. And then everyone's like, oh, wow, looks really cool. And, like, you know, people I work for are like, hey, we really love it. I was like, oh, shit, really? Okay. And so, yeah, it's just growing and growing and growing. For those who are actually listening to this on, like, Spotify or something, I am referring, by the way, to the goatee beard on my chin. It's just occurred to me that we're talking about this little thing that's been growing and growing and everybody loves it. And I do realize there are some people out there who aren't getting the visual, you know.
They're getting a visual. They're getting a visual.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd better point that out. See, I'm a step ahead. I'm ahead of the curve here. But yeah, look, I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm growing kind of fond of it. So it'll probably just keep going till it's like down to my navel or down to my other little thing. You know, we'll just see what happens. But. Yeah, but anyway.
I wonder if you did dye your hair green, if people were thinking maybe you're playing too much GTA and that you're now turning into your GTA character.
The captain, yeah. Look, I think, you know, that was kind of a visual representation of, like, who I want to be in life. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. Because those outfits, man, those tiny little shorts and the pink cowboy boots, whoa, can't beat them.
That's all you're missing. I mean, I may have to look into them. You may have to tell me what your sizes are, and that's what'll get you for your birthday.
Well, I'll give you a clue. It's between 11 and 13, but anyway. Hey, look, maybe I'll find a pair of cowboy boots on Wish for $1. Who knows? Yeah, but anyway, so was there anything, you know, during this whole pandemic thing, even though your life didn't really change as much as, you know, from the usual thing, is there anything that you've done, any wild, crazy, wacky things, apart from, like, surgery?
Yeah, no, that's literally the extent of my excitement, you know. But not to say that wasn't dull. I mean, that definitely, let's see, I've now been in hospital 3 times.
Yeah.
So, yay!
Woohoo!
2 surgeries. It was to say that each one has been different, despite the fact that most of them are pretty much the same procedure, except the most recent one was the one where I actually, I had a laser inside me.
Wow!
Not many people can say that.
That is absolutely true. I mean, look, I do have one here. I don't know if it works. Hang on.
I really hope you weren't using that and you weren't in the operating room.
There you go. Aha! Now I have a laser inside me too.
But can yours blast things?
Hey, look, I've got green hair. It is powerful enough to hit the clouds. It's like one of those laser pointers. Like the batteries are extremely weak, but you go outside at nighttime and like you can actually hit the clouds with it. So I probably could have burnt a hole through the back of my skull right now if it had been on full power. I bet. But anyway, so we both had lasers inside us.
Yeah, everything is on now being in the hospital when we have
laser inside
COVID.
You. Yeah.
Oh god.
Please.
Being
continue.
in hospital when we're in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
Both before and after lockdown, it was insane what the difference is. I mean, originally it was just like, cool, you can't have visitors because people can't be in there longer than they need to, and it's like, cool. I'm in pain and I'm drugged. Who the fuck do I want to talk to right now anyway?
Yeah.
And then the next time around, actually before my procedure, I was so pissed. I was told to come in at like 7:30 for an appointment at 9:30 in the morning. That's when my surgery was meant to be. So I come in, or maybe it was, no, come in at 7 o'clock. And I came in at 7, I did all the administration stuff, I'm sitting, I get called in at 7:30, and they tell me, so somebody came in, needed an immediate surgery, an elderly person, and so they've been prioritized ahead of you, so now your surgery isn't going to be till it was like 12:30, 1:30 or something like that. I'm like, what now? And they're just like, yeah, so you're just going to sit in the waiting room. So I have an allergy condition of allergic to the cold. I'm sitting in a waiting room in the hospital where chairs are spaced apart. I'm in a hospital gown and I'm there in that chair for 5 fucking hours.
Oh, God. I mean,
there's no such thing as comfort, especially when I have a stent inside me that sitting in chairs means I'm in agony. And I'm just like, I'm hungry. I haven't slept because I was just like, well, I have to get up early and I can't go to sleep, so why the fuck bother? So now I'm running on 0 sleep. I can't eat because I have to fast before surgery. And I'm just like, whoever this elderly person is, I fucking hate you.
Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, shouldn't they prioritize the younger people because the older ones are, like, closer to death anyway? So, you know, wouldn't it make sense to, like, prioritize and, you know, like, put... What? It's just, it's logical. My
procedure wasn't life-threatening. Obviously, this person was in critical condition and needed help. And they're just like, yeah, you're young, you'll be fine, you can wait. And I'm like, yeah, but I've been waiting 6 weeks already. Like, and then I woke up and I woke up to an allergic reaction. That sucked. And then I'm dealing with having low blood pressure, dealing with dodging calls from my mother and my brother who are fighting over the phone over who has the unfortunate responsibility of having to come and get me from the hospital. I'm like, I'm so fucking sorry. Jesus. Meanwhile...
How far away is the hospital?
It's... Drive-wise, it's maybe like a 15-20 minute drive.
Okay, that's walking distance. Anyway, please continue.
It's definitely not walking distance, but
it is.
But either way, I'm dodging all those calls, and then I was informed with the wonderful information where they said, you'll be getting this out within a week. And I went, really? Really? I don't have to have it in that long. I'm so happy. And they said, yeah. And I'm like, cool. And then I went...
Then what happened?
I thought, nah, I'm not that lucky. I am not that fucking lucky. I just knew it.
Well, you would have been if there weren't so many fucking dickheads around. But yeah. So what actually happened? Come on, tell the people.
I was meant to have this stent out a week ago, but a whole bunch of people contracted COVID-19 in my state and have not been following the new implemented rules or laws that say, hey, if you have the virus and you're not in critical condition, stay the fuck home.
Yeah.
People are not doing that. They found out that of the, at the time, 3,000 people who had tested positive and were meant to be self-isolating, 800 of them were not fucking home when the door checks happened.
Look, it's not even, sorry to interject, but it's not even, people who think they might be sick. Even if you're not sick, just stay home because you could be sick and you don't know it. Or you might go out and become, in contact with someone who is sick, which will make you sick. So just, look, I mean, obviously I have no right to be as angry as you about it, but...
You're an Australian, you can be angry.
It just makes no sense to me whatsoever.
No.
And the fact that, of course, it was bad enough just hearing about, because, the stupidity of humankind irks me at the best of times, but when it directly affects one of my friends in this sort of way, it just, this time it's personal. So,
well, that's the thing, we all have those moments and we're all kind of, I think we're all, the sane people, we're all unanimously pissed that there are people forcing us to be in these situations of lockdown and all this stuff, and we can't do this and we can't do that, which I'm happy to, do those things if it means, dropping numbers and potentially saving lives. I have no fucking problem with that. Yep. Staying inside my house or wearing a mask does not overall affect my life. It's not that big a fucking deal.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm just like, has COVID impacted my life? Up until all this happened, no. It did not impact my life. My life was fine. Then I ended up with a goddamn kidney stone, and suddenly I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. I go to hospital, da-da-da-da-da. No, it's not that simple, because my first procedure to get the stent, I think to get the first stent put in, and then to get the second one taken out, and then the kidney stone blasted, and then get a new stent, these are all things that are considered category 2. There are 3 categories for procedures. So category 3 is elective surgery, so stuff that you don't really need. Category 2 is something that is needed, but you don't need it right away. And category 1 is obviously life-threatening and you 100% need this. At the time when I was meant to be getting procedure number 2, I was category 2, so I was... they were trying to fit an appointment in for me, but they of course had to rework their entire schedules because they're trying to follow COVID protocols, and the hospitals keep getting new rules and regulations, and they're trying to follow them whilst trying to deliver the best care they can for their patients.
Sure.
And now with this one where I'm meant to just get this stent removed and resume a normal kidney living, urinating life, I'm now considered category 3 because it's not that necessary. So right now, because lockdown, we're now in stage 4, so category 2 and 3 procedures have been cancelled. So I'm stuck with this thing for who knows how fucking long, and I understand, and I'm not mad at the hospitals, I'm not mad at the rules because I understand why they're there. I'm mad at all the fuckers who caused this situation because I understand why I'm considered, not a priority. This isn't going to kill me, but nevertheless, there is a foreign object in my body that is 20 to 30 centimeters long, causing me distress.
What's his name and what country is he from? Is it Manuel from Argentina?
I don't know, but he's a grower, not a shower.
Thing inside you. Wow. Anyway, yeah, yeah. No, that absolutely sucks. Seriously, let's face it. you kind of got a bit of a reputation for having rotten luck, but wow, this is taking it to a whole new level. So but look, by all means,
I know, and you haven't even known me that long.
I know,
and in
I
the
know.
short amount of time you've known me.
Yeah, you're like the unluckiest person I think I've ever met. So yeah, so if everyone,
I have broken 4 mirrors in my lifetime. That may explain it.
Oh, okay. So, look, if everybody could offer thoughts and prayers to Ashley, please drop them in the comments below, because we all know thoughts and prayers make everything better. Yeah, they don't
Or
really.
if you really care about me, you could join my Patreon.
Yes, you could do that and make it rain. Whee! That's money. But the good news is, for all of us, look, you may have been unlucky, but we sure as heck haven't, because the show must go on, and that it did. You've been cranking out not only reviews and everything, but of course you've been also doing a game show while you're in absolute agony and with Miguel or whatever his name was inside you. Is it Manuel or Miguel? Which one's better? I don't know.
Let's just say Manny.
Oh, yeah, Manny inside you. Wow. Well, there you go. Yes, you've been doing it, and I've been watching it, and I'm ready.
Now.
You could like quiz me on what happened in the last 3 episodes, and I will tell you exactly like what people were wearing.
You can't say you've been watching it. You watched it in the last couple hours.
So I've been watching it.
In the last couple hours.
Well,
I
for
think
good reason.
I think I should get award not only for my hosting skills but for my acting skills, because no person has been able to tell in any of my recordings that I'm actually sitting there trying not to cry or scream while going, I fucking hate my life because I'm in so much pain.
But
because my night is ruined after those recordings. But as you said, the show must go on, and I'm here to deliver movie trivia to those 30 people who were willing to watch my show.
And might I add, of course, being that obviously Trivial Theatre is like one of my best friends on YouTube, and I just love everything she does. It has killed me that I've been putting off watching her episode, because as soon as it dropped, I was like, oh my god, I want to watch it. And like, I even actually went to click on it, but then I was like, if I watch it now, by the time we record this, I'm going to be like, who's Trivial Theatre? No, I know what I'm like, okay? And so that is the reason why I left it up until now. And I'm really glad I did, because everything is fresh. I'm ready to do this. So yes, I have my page of notes that I've written for all 3 episodes. I'm ready to do this. So shall we cast our minds back to episode 27, where it was, what's his name again? The Kragus versus Josh.
Yes, this was the first time Craig, more commonly known as the Kragus, actually showed his face. He doesn't do that. I mean, he has a blog. I think he sometimes does podcasts. I can't keep anything straight anymore, but he doesn't do anything that involves showing his face, and even any of his thumbnails are like cartoon illustrations and stuff, which are cute. And but yeah, he was nervous. But I've always said to people, you don't have to be a YouTuber to do this. You can be a podcaster, a blogger, just anybody who likes movies and wants to have some fun.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to show your face, you don't have to. Yeah,
it was good to see a non-YouTuber competing, because, there have been other people, like just, sort of movie fans that I've been sort of like, you should give this a go. And they're like, well, isn't it just YouTubers? It's like, no. If you like movies, just do it, just fucking do it. But I'm deeply surprised that I didn't get a reaction from you when I called John Josh just now. Like, I
wasn't actually listening to you.
That's fair enough. I've heard that before. Anyway, but of course it is John, not Josh, which I am just making a mockery of myself based on when Josh and John were head to head, and I got the names mixed up because they're very similar. And yeah, but it's John who My God! Like, this guy, can he be beaten? I mean, actually, it was funny, like, it was a bit of a spoiler for me as to who won each episode because it's just like, oh, John's competing in the next one, so I guess he won that one. Oh, and he's in the third one, so I get, for fuck's sake.
You should have just, like, muted me.
Yeah, not as big as the spoilers that you gave in round 3, but we'll get to that. But no, like, even he's in the thumbnails. It's like, you can see like where this is going. But anyway, it's my fault for waiting this long to watch them. But yeah, so all right. So now, as you and I discussed beforehand, we're not going to go through question by question because it's gonna take way too long. This is gonna be an 18-hour podcast, and
to anyone wondering, the only reason we have those extra long episodes where we go through every question is because it had to be done because Dan doesn't fucking remember anything because he didn't watch it at the time.
Well,
so
no,
that's why that is needed.
It is also kind of cool for, let's just say there are some people who didn't watch the show, like, and they can, but anyway. But no, so I have my notes here, and the first round was female directors, which all I'll say is that I got 6 out of 10 on that one, and
nicely done.
Nicely done. I actually surprised myself. And question 2 was about a movie that had a bunch of titles, and the overseas one was Strike, and you couldn't remember what the Australian one. And I do know this one. It was The Hairy Bird, and I remember it. I remember it because years and years and years ago, oh god, a long time ago, I had a big stack of DVDs in my collection that I sold off. That actually was to fund a short film. Anyway, I sold off a whole bunch of DVDs, and one of them was The Hairy Bird. And I made a list of all these movies because I thought one day I'm gonna, get these movies back in my collection again. And it's just sort of, it's been a slow process, of putting them back in. But that was one of them, and yeah, I really dug that movie, and I knew that it was called Strike Overseas. So yeah, when that one came up and you guys were talking about it, I was like, oh. I know the other answer to that question, so yeah, there you go. But yeah, I actually overall, surprisingly, I did better in that category than I did the other two.
I always know that female directors on its own in general is a hard category. Female directors are not a set of people who are that often showcased, or a lot of them you may know their films but you don't know the person who directed it, which is more common with female directors than it is male directors. Guaranteed you can name a male director and there's a chance I don't know who that is. But it's worse with female directors because, as I think, I don't know if I said it in a podcast or I said it in like a deleted section of the game show, but no, actually, I think I may have said it in my Unity Through Cinema podcast where I said up until I started doing reviews and everything, I didn't actually know there were female directors.
Oh, wow.
I didn't, and it's just because I'd only ever seen male director names and male directors being interviewed that it just kind of was in my head that there just aren't female directors, that it's just not a female profession. I thought it was a man's profession, and it's not till you actually start to get into like the reviewing and the actual looking in and getting behind the scenes type stuff when you kind of go and reflect and go, wow, that is so fucked up that I even thought that my brain went, no, women can't do that. I'm like, that's bad.
Yeah, like, because I'm like, I'm one of these people that like, part of me is like, I don't care if it was a man or a woman who directed a film, as long as it's a good story, as long as it's a well-made film, then great. Yeah. But I do also understand the importance of highlighting female directors, being that it is, criminally unbalanced in the film industry, and it shouldn't be, because my God, there are so many talented female directors and writers and, just freaking caterers and grips and whatever. So, I mean, I don't know if we'll see it in this lifetime, but geez, it'll be good for one day where, it's not even an issue where, it's just people making movies. But yeah, I think that there were a couple of answers I did guess, I will admit, but mainly because it was films that I hadn't seen before. It wasn't because like, ooh, that movie's directed by a woman, I don't want to watch that. So yeah.
Sounds like you.
Oh, yeah, that's totally me. So there were a couple, I guess. But no, I did get 6 out of 10, as opposed to round 2, the 90s, which is my favorite decade of cinema, in which, like, from 93 to, was it 90, well, no, till the 2000s, like, I worked in cinemas and video stores. I was around movies constantly, and I only got 5 out of 10. Why did I only get 5 out of 10?
Now I have to ask, which ones did you get wrong?
Question 1. Oh, look, I don't know what the questions are as well. I've just got them, like, 1X. 2, I do remember, was the Pump Up the Volume question. I got Happy Harry hard on because I have seen that movie. I have seen that movie 1,000 times. Admittedly, I did sit there going, oh, hang on. I know it. Happy Harry hard on. Question 3 I got wrong.
Neither of our competitors had seen that film. I was so shattered.
I loved it. The soundtrack album is fucking
right?
Brilliant. Like,
I just made Ben watch this for Switch Movies.
Yeah.
You did high school. You made the thumbnail.
Yeah.
And so he picked Edge of 17, and I picked Pump Up the Volume. And I wasn't entirely blown away by his, but he was just like, he just found it very meh. He found it very underwhelming. He thought that it didn't really tackle any real issues, and I'm like, did we watch the same film?
Yeah.
Like, obviously that's the point, that we have completely different opinions on films and we go back and forth. But it's just been so funny that since I rewatched it and was posting about rewatching it, and everybody's been like, oh my god, this film is so fucking good.
I've been a fan of it for a very long time.
And so then I'm just like, surely, I'm like in a groove. I'm like, yeah, everybody seems to love this film except Ben, because I'm now convinced Ben has shit taste, not me. And then I'm asking this question, and these guys are both like, no. Although, no, Craig did say, I think he did say that he had seen it, but it was a long time ago. But I'm like, how can you forget the words Happy Harry Hard On? Like, that just stays with you.
Yeah,
it stays inside you, probably, too. But,
like Manny. Yeah, because it's one of those films I've seen it that many times that I can, like, in my brain right now, I can visualize particular scenes and shots and everything. Like, yeah, and it also, like, resulted in me having a massive crush on Samantha Mathis.
Not surprised.
Yeah, not in the least because she took her shirt off in that movie. But,
sure.
Yeah, because then when Broken Arrow came out, I was like, oh my god, that's Samantha Mathis from Pump Up the Volume. So
that's the Eat Me Beat Me lady.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's just not enough love in the world for that movie. But so I got that one. Yeah, question 3 I got wrong. I got 3 in a row with 4, 5, and 6. 7 I got wrong, 8 I got right, and then the last 2 I got wrong. Yeah, so I let myself down. I really did. Here I am, like, ooh, I'm the 90s cinema guy, and it's like, fuck, no, I'm not.
Well, you know what? Like I said, the Matilda one was hard. It's such a generic tagline. I totally admit that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it had, I think, 3, but out of all 3 of them, they were equally generic.
Yeah.
Like, looking at them, and I'm like, none of these make me think of the story of Matilda.
Exactly.
I don't think about, this, girl with fucking telepathy, who's getting justice for the kids at school, like, fight the power.
Yeah.
None of them made me think that, and I'm just like, man, someone was just not in it when they were right. They just didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
I was ready to go to war over that Fifth Element question. I honest to God was. Because that I have a history of doubting myself. And because sometimes I get stuff wrong.
Yeah.
So if somebody tells me I'm wrong, I automatically assume they're right that I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Although
I have that in my
there
own
have
trivia
been-
show. Like, there are times, especially if it's questions that I've gotten from the internet, you know, which are obviously up for debate. Like, there have been so many times where arguments have broken out, and I'm just like, well, I don't care. It's what it says on this thing, so we're moving on. But yeah, so I totally feel you on that one.
Yeah, whereas this one, I'd known it for so long. Like, I know this. This is just like this little piece of trivia because I like, because it's a mythology thing. You know me, I'm a mythology. And so when I'm waiting for the answer and John's like, well, they never actually said it in the movie. I'm like, yes, they did. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, they did. And he's like, well, maybe, but I don't think they ever said. I'm like, yeah, they did. And it was written in fucking hieroglyphics in the first 3 minutes of the film. So, like, someone literally translated it at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was so prepared to, like, defend myself and be like, no, it is said in the film.
Yeah, and after you said it, you know, it was one of those things like, yeah, I got it wrong. I just couldn't think of it. I'm like, and I knew it was something that was said in the film. Then after you said the answer, I was just like, that's right, yes. And no, so you were absolutely right. It is mentioned in the film, so yeah. But
yeah, I was just prepared. I'm like, is this going to be the time like we're going to battle early, John?
Yeah.
Because he's such a nerd. So the fact that he's like, it was never said, I'm like, yes, it was.
It's like, you're wrong, bitch.
I was ready.
Now, some interesting things happened in the third round with Clive Barker, who I appreciate the guy's work. I would not consider myself a fan as such.
Okay.
So I only got 3 right. I probably wouldn't have got 2 of them, though, if you hadn't spoiled the answers to them. Because in the second question, it was, what was it, which 3 films had Clive Barker directed, was it, I think? Was that...
Second question was how many films has Clive Barker directed?
Now you made the mistake there of saying what the 3 films were afterwards, because what's the next question?
How many Hellraiser films did Barker direct?
Duh! You gave the answer away in the last one. And, and then so question 9, of course, was which one did he direct, produce, and write? And I was like, well, obviously it's down to those 3, and I figured it was just an educated guess. Like, usually it would probably be a first film, you know, like a low budget sort of independent film or something that someone would have multiple roles on. So I figured it was it Lord of Illusion? Was that the one?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
He directed, wrote, and produced it.
I haven't even seen the film, but you kind of gave the answer away. So, yeah, you know what? I would have only got 1 out of 10 if you hadn't spoiled those 2 answers. So,
yeah. But you're also the only one who picked up on that. I wrote them and I didn't even pick up on it.
Yeah, maybe next time don't actually give away, like, you know, or say what the 3 films someone directed were, just in case. Like, yeah.
But then again, I also know that there have been times where I will ask a question and the clue to the answer is in the question. Like,
yeah, there's a difference between clues and giving the
person
answer away.
Yeah, but there are times where I'm like, there's a clue, it's in the question, I'm pretty much giving it away, and the person still, they're like, I don't get what you're saying, and I'm just
wow.
And then I say the answer and they're like, oh, that was really obvious.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're in that moment, and when you're on the other side of things, and being that I have been a competitor, I can say that, like when I'm being asked multiple choice questions, by the time the question's over, I've forgotten everything that has just been said to me, and I'm just like, I'll just pick a random letter. We'll see what happens.
Like that one of the questions where you gave 4 dates in, I think, all in the 80s or whatever, and John said 1990 something. I think he said like 94, and then you're like, I never said.
Directors.
Yeah. Oh right, yeah, and you said no, 94 wasn't an option. He goes, oh well, 92 then. It's like, for fuck's sake, man. But I get it, because like obviously he doesn't have this, you know, the answers in front of him, so you got to try and remember them. So
It was funny, especially when he's just going, maybe I should actually listen to the question.
Yeah. So that cracked me up. But it didn't crack me up as much as episode 28. I don't know what was funnier, the banter between the three of you, like, because, you know, Trivial Theatre is so awesome, or your cute little Daenerys Targaryen costume. You look so cute dressed up as a Khaleesi.
I was not dressing as Daenerys. I was going more for an ethereal fairy. God.
Yeah, no, so that was a really cool Daenerys cosplay that you did there. So, yeah, well done. You should, like, hit up Supernova with that shit. But no, that whole episode between, you know, the whole thing with, like, you know, doing the kick dancing and Triv having no legs and stuff, like, oh man, I was laughing so much throughout that episode. The banter was great.
That was nearly a 2-hour recording.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But holy shit, kudos to Triv for, you know, doing her animated icon thing, like, you know, the live version. She keeps on saying to me, like, oh no, all this stuff's really easy when you know what you're doing and everything. But to me, it just, I don't know, it still blows my mind that she does all this stuff, that she has, like, an animated theater, like, you know, inside a cinema, and, like, she has this avatar that, you know, the mouth actually matches what is being said and all this sort of stuff. Like, I don't know.
We, prior to recording, we took a test drive to see how her software would hold up transferring to Skype. And there was a minor lag. It wasn't too bad, and I'm just like, it's Skype, there's lags anyway, who fucking cares? And I said, and still, you're an animated character, so you can, you know, I don't think people are going to notice too much as they would if it was an actual person talking, where it's just like, and la la la.
Yeah.
So,
like John had in, I think it was it the third episode? Oh my god, there was a massive lag of like a couple of seconds with what he was saying in his mouth.
And that was Triv's episode. They both did. In fact, they did have a lag. It was Skype, and it's just in the moment. I'm like, I can stop recording and restart Skype, and it still might not fix the problem, and it's going to lead to more. And I'm like, just who fucking cares? I'm like, is anybody actually looking at their mouths anyway?
I mean, you know, it's not like you've ever aimed for professionalism, but no, I the first round comedy, I am going to proudly brag that I got 10 out of 10 on that one. So
of course you did.
I blitzed that one. That was the only one that I was hesitant on was actually the Ferris Bueller question, like what level of school was he in? I was like, oh, because of course we don't have that system over here, and it was like, and I had to.
We don't say senior, junior, freshman, or any of that.
Yeah,
stuff in Australia.
And I was like, oh, was it? I was almost leaning towards freshman, then in the last minute, I was like, no, hang on, he's a senior. Yeah, he was definitely a senior. So yeah, that one only came in at the last minute, but yeah.
It was nice pulling those questions out of storage. I have 2 notebooks currently, and the first notebook is the one where I originally first wrote all category questions when I first started this series.
Right.
And so there are still questions in that book I have not gotten around to asking yet. And this was one of them, because sometimes I forget or I'm flipping through it and I don't notice that I've gone past a page. And I was just like, wow, we're going, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, this is like really like generic. I'm like, these questions are so goddamn easy. I don't even have easy. 4 options. There's 3.
Like, admittedly, I got 10 out of 10, but you know, it wasn't a difficult 10 out of 10 to achieve.
First question alone.
Was that the Anchorman one?
Yeah, Anchorman.
Oh my god, I know.
Like, I did. I think my favorite moment in that round was me fucking with Triv over Gozer the Gozerian. Sorry, that was so.
Oh yeah. When she couldn't remember if it was protagonist or antagonist. Yeah, that was. Yeah,
I'm just. And she got it right, right off the bat. And I was just like, "Are you sure?" Like, I was just being playful, but she actually doubted herself. wait, what? I'm like, I'm just fucking with you. And
Yeah.
John's like trying not to piss himself laughing, and Triv's freaking out. I'm like, good God, did I just make this avatar have a breakdown?
You did. I mean, like, I
did.
swear to God, there were little animated beads of sweat forming, but yeah, but no, it was still fun, even though the questions were kind of easy.
They both did me proud, and
Yeah.
nobody missed a single answer in that round until we got to round 2. It was an unfortunate turn of events.
I know.
dead.
I myself got 5 out of 10 in that one.
Okay.
I didn't do too badly, but one of you, like, okay, let's face it. There are times here and there where you have little, spelling mistakes and stuff on the screen. But one of my favorite ones.
Oh, I know.
One of my favorite ones was in question 3, where on the screen it said something about a movie released in 2109.
Yeah.
I was like, I did a double take. I was
saw
like,
it.
wait a minute, are we talking about movies from the future already? Like, yeah, that was fun.
I noticed it on my final run through, and when I thought of the amount of work that it would take for me to fix this one thing, I just went, do I spend 1 to 2 days trying to fix it, or do I just run with it? I'm like, fuck it, people can read. They know we're not in 2109.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's that whole thing where, professionalism is a distant dream for you. But yeah, no, I only got 5 in that one, but yeah, like you said, things definitely shifted in that round.
Yeah, I was apparently action, or at least more popular action films, and not Triv's forte.
Yeah, clearly. Poor
No
lady.
points were scored on her side of the board on that round, unfortunately. And I think that... No, she didn't get anything. I thought she could have at least gotten Roadhouse.
I know. I thought she could have at least gotten anything, because, trivial theatre. It's like, oh, and then she comes on my show and steals all the trophies.
Yeah, I did have a little bit of a giggle when she didn't get a President of the United States for National Treasure, and she said the Illuminati, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. She came up with some interesting answers.
She does. She keeps things interesting. I love that about her. But
the
John,
Yakuza
however,
one,
was
I thought
stealing
was...
all her points, like,
Yeah,
the thief he is.
The Yakuza one I thought was quite interesting, being that I don't even think the Yakuza was around, like, back in those times, and like you pointed out, it wasn't in that country.
That's what we both said. It was just unfortunate, and I mean, and Yakuza aren't political. They're basically Japanese mafia.
Yeah. Because you said it was like the title of a political leader, and she was like Yakuza. It's like, why do I hear crickets chirping right now? Yeah, that was an interesting answer. But look, under pressure, obviously, yeah. Look, because obviously I have now thrown my hat into the ring to go on this show, and I just know I am going to be doing equally stupid things. Yeah. But anyway, do you want me to like dress up as Khal Drogo or something if you're going to do Daenerys? Like, do we like? No, never mind.
I was not dressing as Daenerys.
Yeah, I was just about to say I don't think I could pull off Khal Drogo, but that's yeah. Anyway, that's Daenerys' job. Get it?
Well, after that we moved to round 3,
please.
which was once again Patron's choice. I think my competitors at this point, and when they hear those words, it's just their moment of fucking hell.
I
really
was so happy with this category when it came up, and I got 6 out of 10 in this one because I love Alan Rickman. Oh god, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, when's the Dogma question coming up? And of course, as soon as that one came up with the quote, I was just like, Dogma! It's Dogma! I know it!
Dogma is my favorite Kevin Smith films, and I do absolutely love Alan Rickman, so I'm just like, I can't not include Dogma. But then again, like I say in the episode, it was hard to find an appropriate quote to use because he refers to himself as Metatron almost every time he speaks. So that would have pretty much given it away. So I eventually found that one, and I was gutted. I was so like John and I are literally sitting there like fingers crossed, praying the trip will get it, and she said Galaxy Quest.
I know, because Dogma, that film, and I sort of have like a personal attachment to it, because around the time that film was made was when I got to speak to Jason Mewes on the phone for a while, which like was just one of the most unforgettable moments of my entire life. And it was like just after they'd finished filming that movie, and he was working at Kevin Smith's comic book shop, like
oh my god.
Hey, yeah.
I said, oh my god.
And through a series of circumstances, he told me to call him. So I gave him a call, and he was working, and just speaking to him on the phone. Like he went outside the store, like, because they obviously it was a cordless phone to talk to me, and I just remember we barely even spoke about the movie or anything. We were just talking about, because he was a massive toy collector at the time, and we were just talking about toys and comics and stuff. And at one point, there's all these sirens close by, and he was telling me that he was watching all these emergency service trucks driving down the road, because apparently a huge wall had collapsed down the end of the street or something, and it was just this really down-to-earth random conversation, and till the day I die, I'm never going to forget that time. So because of all of that, that movie kind of has a personal connection to me. So
that's awesome.
But so I was very happy about that. But there were other things as well, because in the back of my mind, I knew that Die Hard was Alan Rickman's first role, because it's one of those really inspirational things when you find out that it wasn't, until his 40s that he became a movie star, It's one of those things that, it's never too late. It's, I love stories like that, because especially, from a still wannabe filmmaker's point of view, all of my heroes got started when they were in their sort of mid-20s and stuff, and it's just sort of shit, maybe I missed my boat. But then, you hear about things like Alan Rickman's story, and it's fuck yeah. It doesn't matter when. As long as you achieve what you want to do. So,
that always surprises me. Not so much that his age, just because... you often hear, even if it's a big name, it's here's their first film, and it's a film nobody's ever heard of, and it's such a small film, but it's this is his first film. It's a huge film that everybody knows. You may not have seen it, but you know it. And it's just wow, talk about coming out the gate hard. It's you may have started late. It's but he made up for lost time with Die Hard.
Talk about dying out the gate hard. No. That was a reference to Die Hard, by the way, not the fact that he's dead.
Was just that was bad.
Yeah, it was. But I didn't mean for that. But no, because that even threw John, because he was sitting there I want to say Die Hard, but there's probably some smaller film before that, and I'm sitting there and nah, bitch, it's Die Hard. But yeah, so no, I got 6 out of 10 on that.
There were 2 questions that I asked, and because John and Trev are very similar in their taste of films, it's those, very underground, you may not know, or they're just really bad.
Yeah.
And they both love those, and so I didn't want to ask too many questions that are about, the popular, well-known Alan Rickman films. If I had, I probably would have thrown in a Quigley Down Under question as well for good measure. But, so I was asking more about just also stuff that I am a fan of as well. And I really thought that they would get the January Man and Blow Dry, at least one of them would.
I didn't
because
get
it just
either of
seems
those.
like those little underrated films and things. I'm like, oh my god, I'm now even a level below these 2 in talking about underrated films, because they're both what are these films you were talking about? And I'm like, I love these movies. I'm like, wow, what kind of person am I?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm watching stuff these two never seen.
I've heard of January Man. I haven't seen it, but Blow Dry, nah, that one I have never heard of before. It was a good mix of questions though. Like
Alan Rickman and Bill Nye having a fucking hairdressing fight. Like, my god, this is British comedy gold.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it, but yeah. So at the end of the day, poor Triv, she got absolutely annihilated in the score. Yeah. Which initially said
John ended that game with 19 points out.
Yeah, and then hers, it said on the screen 7, and then it went to 6.5. So because when I jotted my notes down, I was like, oh, it says 7, and then it changed to 6.5. And I was like, wait a minute, which one was it?
Because she asked for a hint.
Yeah. So yeah, but
at least she may not have gotten the Dogma question, but then she did actually end up getting a Galaxy Quest quote. So
yeah.
Yay.
But look, you know,
Redemption.
At the end of the day, she's won more virtual trophies in my show than anybody else. So
because she's really fast at using Google.
Yes, exactly. I know.
That is the real contest of your show. It's not who knows the answers, it's who uses Google the fastest.
Exactly, and I'm totally okay with that. I mean, look, I know that aside from the fact that I can't see what everyone's doing, but yeah, there's just a lot of questions, and particularly ones that I write because I do, well, I mean, you know, to this day, I mean, I made that one question that people couldn't even get the answer from Googling. I actually wrote the unanswerable question, which of course
was the 7 one, wasn't it?
That was the 7 one, which was, what was the company name on the side of the delivery van at the end of the movie?
What's the name?
So yeah,
word?
Nobody got that one, and there was another one recently that no one got as well. I can't remember what it was now, but it was a stupid question, so I just didn't bother with it. But
well, she may not have walked away with an Are You a Movie Oracle win, but we will always know her for having fast fingers, and that's advertising you can take to the bank.
Exactly. I do admire her for her fast fingers and the way that she puts them to good use. So please, let's go on to episode 29, which was, of course, John versus... Oh, man, I know I only just watched this. Who was it?
I don't know, some random
blank. Chick. Yeah. Actually, I had to laugh. You know, with you in the previous two, I can't remember which one it was, but when you pop up like people's tweets and stuff, did you cringe having to use the one where someone spelt your name wrong? Because someone spelt it Ashley, and I saw that come up, and I was like, man, you must have really, you know, summoned up every ounce of your pride to be able to still put that tweet up there.
I so badly wanted to edit that fraction out of it, but the way it was positioned, I couldn't do it.
Ah, man.
It's honest to God, it's gotten to a point where it's not fucking funny anymore. I am so offended when it happens, and it happened last night.
Yeah.
Somebody, former competitor, was like showing enthusiasm over the game, which is cool. But they said in the first 2 words, they said Ashley, and they spelt it with the masculine spelling. And I'm just like, you replied to my tweet where my fucking name is printed right there for you to read, and you still got it wrong. And when people do that either in the like Twitter DMs or the Facebook DMs, and I'm just like, it's right there at the top of the chat screen. You see my name, it's printed. So I'm like, this isn't just lazy, this is disrespectful at this point. And I corrected him, and he's just like, oh, wow, like, you, like, pulled out the, you know, mug shot or, like, the best picture of yourself. Does that mean you kicked his ass? And and so he said me, so I just, you know, asterisk and, like, Ashley just likes to, you know, use current pictures. And he's like, that doesn't answer my question. I'm like, you totally missed the point of my reply, didn't you? Like, I'm correcting that you spelled my fucking name wrong, you bastard.
But that being said, like, yeah, obviously, you know, this is a constant struggle for you, but spare a thought for the fact that one of my best friends in the whole wide world, her name is Karen. Do I need to elaborate on what she must be going through? Actually,
is she on her way to Deepole to have her name changed? That is the question.
Oh man, I wouldn't blame her if she was going to, because but you know, it's the sort of thing that like I see the humor in the whole Karen thing, but like I have never once in my life either made one of those jokes or clicked like on a tweet that uses it or anything like that, because I'm in solidarity with her on this, because yeah, it's just not fair. But then
I can't be against it. Like, I'm sorry if you're a nice person and your name is Karen, but I have known a few Karens in my day, and I mean, their names were actually Karen, and they acted like a Karen.
Oh, wow.
So it was just, by the time I, like, learned this whole pop culture, this terminology, I'm just like, that totally makes sense. I'm like, because my sister's partner, his mother's name is Karen.
Right.
And yep, she fits the stereotype. The girl I used to know, her name was Karen. Oh my god, what an entitled princess she was.
Oh, wow.
And like, her dad always called her princess. I'm like, bitch, you're 15.
Yeah.
And he's still calling you that, and you still acting like that? Okay.
Oh,
Cool,
okay.
cool.
Well, no, my friend is the she is the anti. She's actually even been called on Twitter as the anti Karen, because like she is so the complete opposite of, you know, that sort of thing.
Anti-Karen makes her sound like someone who's gonna go out and kill Karen.
You know, she's that sort of person. But there was also a funny anecdote I've got of the name Ashley. There was a girl I used to work with whose name was Ashley, spelled Ashlea, and she went into a Starbucks one day and she was sick of everyone getting her name spelt wrong, so she said to the barista, she said, my name's Ashley, spelt with an E-A. I kid you not, somewhere I've still got a photo of it. Her cup came back with the name on the side spelled E-A-S-H-L-A. Ishla. She said her name was Ashley, spelled with an E-A, E-A-S-H-L-A. Like, yeah.
I'm just gonna hope that the person who was working that day was dyslexic.
I don't know. Maybe it was a joke.
I want to think that there was a logical reason and excuse for that.
If it was done as a joke, it was really well done, but I just don't think it was. So naturally, from that day forward, I never referred to her as anything other than Ishla again. Yeah, God, that was funny. So
I have growing up, Ashley was the most common one of the most common girl names at school. So, and also just common names in general. In grade 4, there was me and this other guy, Ashley, so he had the EY spelling, I had EIGH. And to make a difference, our teacher literally separated us by saying girl Ashley and boy Ashley. That's how she said. So she asked a question, she's like, girl Ashley, you answer the question, like, thanks to that specification.
Yeah.
And then when I got into high school, specifically VCE, so year 11 or 12, no, it was year 12. I made friends with a year 11 girl who was in my class, and her name was Ashley with the exact same spelling. And the teacher immediately saw this on the roll and went, uh-oh. So how are we going to do this? And she's like, how do I approach this with you two? We looked at each other and I said, I prefer to be called Ashley. And she says, I prefer to be called Ash. And she's like, brilliant! That's what we'll go with.
Yeah, because holy shit, if I was, you know, like you said, there was a guy in the class, like, I would have gone with Ash, like, just solely based on Evil Dead. You know, one of the coolest characters in movie history.
You would.
Yeah.
You would. Teachers don't always think of that, though.
Exactly. But, of course, episode 29. So,
the championship episode.
The champignon-ship. Everywhere, the winner gets a can of champignons. So Disney, of course, was the first one. And look, I'm one of these people that, you know, I love a lot of Disney films, obviously, but I'm not like a huge fan, you know? Like, this is gonna be sacrilege to so many people, but like, I'm pretty sure I've never seen Hercules or Heracles. There's a lot of the classic Disney animated films that I haven't even seen. And I don't know, it's not because I don't think I'm going to like them. It's just, that kind of thing where you've got to get motivated to actually take that step into seeing a film. And yeah, with a lot of Disney stuff, I just don't have that initial step. But like I said, when I do watch the films, it's like, oh my god, I love this film. But that being said,
I can understand that, because while I love Disney, I prefer old school Disney.
Right.
Like anything kind of after 2006, I wasn't that enamored by, and I kind of slowly trailed off on watching a lot of Disney animated films that came out. So I haven't watched a lot of the more recent stuff. Like I said, I hadn't seen the Princess and the Frog. I hadn't seen Tangled. I have my nieces who I never even wanted to watch Frozen. I only watched it because of my bloody nieces. They're just like, we want to watch Frozen. I'm like, okay, I guess we can watch Frozen. And I was like, okay, I'll go and see Frozen 2, but I didn't. Did I intend to see Frozen 2? No, I took my niece to see that as a birthday present. I treated her to gold class because I want to be, the world's best aunt. And I actually ended up liking the second one way more than I liked the first one.
Oh, wow.
But again, these are films where I'm just going, I look back at like the old Disney films, especially like really old, like 1950s Disney, and I'm just like, I can watch, I can literally sit and for 24 hours straight watch Alice in Wonderland on a fucking loop. And I'm not gonna get sick of it. I will be as happy as fucking can be.
Yeah.
But you give me something like Frozen or even Moana, which I did review and I said it's a great film, and I love the animation of it. I love the cultural aspects. I love the cultural authenticity of the casting and all that stuff. I'm like, but the music wasn't memorable to me. The story isn't memorable to me. And have I ever watched...
Yeah, the song from Moana, oh, fuck it, it's up there with my favorites.
For me, that's another thing. Like, modern day Disney films, most of the songs in the soundtracks, they aren't memorable for me.
Right.
I know that's almost sacrilegious at this point these days as well. But for me, I'm just like, nothing really stays with me. So obviously, like, Let It Go, it's a good song. It's a great song, and Idina Menzel I've absolutely loved because of her Broadway work. So she has a phenomenal voice, and it's hard for me to not like something that she sings because she puts so much power into what she sings.
True.
Everything else in that film, I'm like, meh, I really don't care. Frozen 2, yeah, I only like the two main songs that Idina Menzel sings, and Show Yourself I think is the best, as opposed to Into the Unknown. I think Show Yourself is way better. It's actually way more emotional, I feel, too. Everything else, I'm like, nah, don't remember it at all.
I don't even remember the songs
for me for a lot of Disney
2.
films, but I look back at all the older stuff, and I've got the soundtracks, and I know every single song, and I will re-listen to every single song because they're brilliant. It's just like, it's not necessarily even to say that the songs are bad, because although I actually hate the song Shiny, but I don't think modern day Disney songs are bad. I think there's a flow that I'm not enjoying in how the songs appear. There's just something where it's like they're either all the same, so nothing really stands out, or they're all so different that there's not, like, it's not somewhere in the middle where it's just like each has its own place and each stands out for a reason. It's just like you either have like one good one and everything else. Like, if I look back and I look at, The Little Mermaid, I'm like, yeah, you remember Under the Sea. You remember Part of Your World. You remember Poor Unfortunate Souls. They're each so different, but they each stand out and they fit the story. And then I look at these other things and I'm like,
it's like, we need to sell soundtrack albums, so let's just try and cram a few more songs in there. But I totally agree. Like, there was so much passion in, I mean, look at the songs from The Lion King, holy shit. But like you mentioned the songs from Frozen 2, and I know one of them was Oscar nominated or whatever, but I don't even remember either of them. Like, I seriously, mind you, I've only seen the film once, but yeah, they didn't work for me at all. And Let It Go, I probably mostly know because every single human being on the planet, including starving kids in Africa, including, remote people who live in igloos in frickin' the North Pole. I know that's not igloos. They've heard the song at least 28 times, so it's kind of hard to avoid that one. But yeah, no, I do agree. Like, yeah, the songs these days are designed mostly for selling soundtracks, whereas back in the day they were there to enhance the story. So that is a very good point, young Ashley. You did good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
But,
thank you for that. So you can see a difference between my questions and John's questions, because John, I feel, picked a lot more modern Disney stuff, and I kind of went a little bit more broad, but also more old school. I think the only thing I had that was modern was The Princess and the Frog. But yeah, he had everything, and I'm like, haven't seen it. I'm like, oh, fuck me dead, I haven't seen anything. But I got lucky. I know. I personally got 5 out of 10, so, which, even then I didn't actually think I was going to get that much, but, yeah. Nicely done. I'm just going to say, before we move on to the other rounds, who do you think wrote the hardest questions?
Overall?
Yeah.
I think that was you, because...
What?
I think John's questions were... and particularly, like with the release dates thing, like, his were more just, what year did this movie come out? Whereas you were like, fucking, how many years, months, days, and hours was it between the time that the person thought about writing the novel as opposed to the third table reading of the script? Like, yours are a lot more specific and finicky.
Okay, I did that for one question.
But no, that's an example. But overall,
what are you supposed to do when the category is movie release dates?
Yeah.
How do you make those questions interesting without just saying, "Hey, here's a film. Tell me when it came out."
I'm not saying there was anything wrong with it. You asked me who gave the harder questions. Okay. Therefore, it was you.
Okay.
Fine. And you also had another spelling faux pas in the first one though, because in question 9, what was it? The one of them, I think someone said lemon cordial and you wrote lime cordial. No, I think the answer was lime cordial. I don't know. I can't remember, but
that's not my fault actually. Aside from the fact that. In Mary Poppins, the children, first there was Jane and she tastes hers and she says, lime cordial, delicious. And then the Michael, he says, strawberry, And then Mary Poppins says hers, which is rum punch. And when he sent me the questions, I wrote the questions exactly how he had typed them out.
Oh, okay.
Turns out, he had not actually read them the way they were typed out.
Yeah.
So as I've...
Alright,
because
so that's on him,
I have to do something, and then once I've, edited and I've got everything placed where I want, I go and I type up the questions.
Right.
So it's not until I've rendered it and I'm going and watching it to make sure everything is in sync, and I'm listening to him and I'm going, these questions do not match what he is saying. And it wasn't my fault because these are all his questions, and I'm just like, dude, you didn't even read your own questions right. So that was not me. Not
dumbass.
me. I will not take blame for this.
All right, that's fair enough. That you've explained yourself well. But now, being that I'm the kind of guy that is into the blockbuster films and the more sort of mainstream stuff, and especially a big comic book fan, have a guess what my score was for the second round of superheroes.
Oh, I'll be 4.
I would have been lucky to get that much. I got fucking 3 out of 10. 3!
You got more than me. I got 0.
I know, but I got 3. That being said, the one that I did find interesting, it was more because I'm about to like drop some knowledge on you here, which I think you might find interesting because it's not a well-known fact, but it was to do with question 5, which is of course which Marvel film did the Hand appear in. Can you tell me which other comic book and movie franchise had a backstory that parodied that of Daredevil, Elektra, like that whole world? Can you tell me? I
probably could, but I'm drawing blank because every time I hear the Hand, I think of the Foot Clan.
Exactly.
So it really.
Okay, think about it. You've got a hero that gained his power. Like I'm going into Daredevil here. You got a hero that gained his power from coming into contact with toxic ooze. You've got a group of bad guys called the Hand, and you've got his trainer called Stick. Okay?
Oh my god.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They got their powers from toxic ooze. They are up against a group of bad guys called the Foot, and they have a trainer named Splinter. And that is fact. That is like Eastman and Laird actually like did all that as a parody of Daredevil.
I feel so much better now because like the whole time like I said, I love Elektra, so I was really upset that I could not think of Elektra. But it was because, aside from the fact that I'm trying to run through Marvel movies in my head, every time I said the Hand, I immediately started thinking of the Foot, and I'm thinking of Ninja Turtles. I'm like, no, Ninja Turtles, get out of my head. You know what I want right now.
You were closer than you realized. Yep.
Now
Eastman
I know
Laird
why.
actually developed the backstory of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles based on the lore of Daredevil. So, yeah, there you go. But
now it's like I always thought I was weird for why I always thought of one when I thought of the other. Now I don't feel bad. I am not crazy, Mom.
There you go. I have actually proved beneficial in this podcast. But no, I'm sitting there because it is a fact that not a lot of people know about, and I love dropping that nugget of information. And as soon as that came up, I was like, oh, this is going to give me a chance to spout that bit of trivia, so there you go. But yeah, I only got 3 of them. I got 1, 5, and 6, whatever the hell they were. Everything else I got wrong, and
I was so bummed. I don't think question 1 from John was fair.
Which one was
because
that?
Because that's a comic book question,
not
a superhero movie question.
Obviously. Yeah, the only reason I got that right is because of my comic knowledge, but I didn't think that was fair because it's supposed to be movie trivia, and technically that wasn't a movie trivia. I mean, okay, it could be argued that it was based, partly on the movie, but the core of the question...
Yeah, but the question is, in the comics,
exactly.
Where is Kamatage? And I'm like... I don't fucking read the comics. How would I know that? I only know the movies, and I'm like, and even if you ask me where was Kamatage in the movies, I would not remember. I'm like, Kathmandu. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't remember. I'm sorry, I couldn't. But that was even worse, and I'm just like, dude, that is not fair. That was really tricky. Fair. That's sneaky. And people think I'm shady when I ask a TV show question.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, at least it's a screen-related question.
Yeah, you're closer than comic books. So 5 was the Elektra. What was number 6? Because that was the only other one I got right. What was that one?
Was 6? No, 6 wasn't mine. So question 6 was obviously one of John's questions.
Okay. Well, whatever it was, that was the only other one I got right. But yeah, I hung my head in shame.
Was it? It wasn't Avengers Endgame, was it?
No, I got that one wrong.
Oh wait, was it Captain America?
I don't know.
Was it the Marvin Gaye one?
No, I didn't get that one either.
What did you get right? That's the question.
I don't know.
Hang on. I've got his copy of questions right here on my good old phone.
Okay, cool.
Superheroes questions.
I need to know.
Round 3, round 2. Okay.
Number
was
6.
it Ant-Man?
No, I didn't get that one either. Or did I maybe put that I got a question?
Was it me? So was I question 6 then? Was it Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes, it was the Guardians. So it must have been you.
It was my question. My bad.
Yeah, because of course question 5 was the electric question. So, So obviously it was. Yeah, we could have saved ourselves a lot of time there. Yes, of course it was the Guardians of the Galaxy question. So yeah, they were the only 3. But here's something you don't know about me. I have got an uncanny thing with movie release dates. I don't know how, but I did get 7 out of 10 in the last one, which is compared to that was like my second best effort out of all the other things. But I don't know if it was being I worked in video stores and stuff or whatever it was. I don't know, but I've just got this weird thing where a title will come up and I just know the date. Obviously, 3 of them I didn't know. The only 3 I got wrong were 2, 6, and 10. But funnily enough, question 2, I also said 1988, which John said, and so I was only 1 year off for that one. But but all the other ones I don't know. It's to the point where I actually surprise myself. I don't know how I know things, but yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that if the day comes where I do get a spot on your show, that I might get that category because
might just happen. But I was I thought I would score 0 points. I thought I would score points for superheroes.
Yeah,
I got nothing. And yet I thought I would score nothing for movie release dates.
I love the look on your
points.
face when you got the first one. Was it which movie was it again?
I've never seen Shaun of the Dead.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah. But
I literally was not even thinking. I was not planning. I was not even trying to use logic. I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care. Here's a random year. Right. Is that going to be the right one?
I just kind of have this, maybe it's like a photographic memory, because, as soon as you say Shaun of the Dead, in my brain, I see 2004, instantly. I didn't even have to think about it. A lot of them were just instinctive. But no, the look on your face, you look like you were just about ready just to quit that round there. And then it's just I'm just taking this 1 point. Go for it. You have the rest.
And then John had his own moment with the Devil Wears Prada question where he just...
I didn't get that one.
He just guessed 3 years and it just so happened it was 3 years difference.
I guessed 10. And again, I knew the year the movie came out, but I had no idea when the book came out. I actually thought it was a lot earlier than that, but clearly not. So that was one of the ones I got wrong.
John was almost mad at me for giving him a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sequel question.
Oh, that was another one I got wrong as well, because I've never seen the film, and I completely forgot it existed until you mentioned the title, and I was like, oh shit. I think I guessed 2006, so I was a little bit off there.
And it was filmed in New Zealand.
Was it? Oh yeah, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that film.
There was actually a scene in the opening of the film, and I remember looking and watching it, and I'm going, this does not feel like it's in China.
Yeah, right.
And I honest to God, remember having this thought because I couldn't believe how accurate my thought process was. I was watching it, and the scenery, I'm like, I feel like I'm in the Shire and I'm expecting hobbits to pop out. And then it wasn't until I got to the end of the movie and I'm writing up my review when I found out it was filmed in New Zealand. I'm like, well, that explains it.
Yeah,
so there we go.
So, I don't know anything about the sequel. Did it have any of the original cast in it, or was it just one of those?
Michelle Yeoh was in it.
Right.
So she has returned as her character.
Okay.
It's also majoritively spoken in English.
Oh, really?
And I'm just like, I feel like you did that to cater to an American audience.
Oh, absolutely.
And that completely disappoints me because Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon did not cater to anybody, and yet it's still to this day this brilliant piece of cinema.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of it's so. I'd almost use the word cheesy. Now, guaranteed, I love me some cheesy films. But I would almost say this is like off cheese.
Yeah, right.
The cheese you don't want to go near because you have this not dictator, but like this tyrannical character who's, Lord, and he's like ruling over people, and then he has, his witch sidekick. I'm like, oh, why did you have to go with one of those? We didn't need one of those. We've got yet another like princess type figure who thinks she's all that and thinks she's got skills, but it's like, no, apparently you don't know shit. And then there's like a love story between her and this other guy who's like fighting for something, but it's just like, what am I watching? Like, no, I'm sorry. This is not remotely in the same vein as the original and has no heart.
Yeah.
No heart whatsoever. I was pretty devastated watching that film.
I think
because I loved the first one.
Oh my god! Like, okay, just bear with me for about 2 seconds.
It
Hang
didn't.
on.
Oh, he's gone. He's vanished.
Okay, so.
Oh, he's back.
Fun fact: I was such a big fan of the first one that when it came time for me to buy a katana, I got a green one because of the green jade sword in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like, I have had this katana for, actually, I think I got it like maybe the year after the movie came out or something like that. But I mean, aside from green being my favorite color, I had to get a green one because of the green sword in Crouching Tiger. Putty, what are you doing? I'm recording here, okay? Seriously, you're being a dick. So I
pity the person who tries to break into your house one day.
I have a lot of weird weaponry. But no, I think it was a case of when I found out there was a sequel to Crouching Tiger, I just didn't even bother with it because, you can't make a sequel to that film. So I just didn't bother even wanting to see the film. I didn't bother looking into anything about it. I was just like, you don't make a sequel to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
You really don't. It was, I mean, there was part of me that, like, I watched it because I love the first one so much, and it's just like, oh, sure, I'd happily want more of it. I'm like, didn't need a sequel? No. Did I want a sequel? No. Like, there's such a random thing to give something a sequel, and 16 years later.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and I'm like, I am so frickin' past.
I know. See, like, where I was kind of like, because I did love the first one so much, I didn't want to see the sequel. It's like with The Crow. Like, I mean, okay, admittedly, I did see the first sequel to that, but I was just like, no, you just squeezing the udders of The Crow, like the little teats. The little birdie teats of the Crow. You just
I have seen all the Crow films.
Yeah.
Spoiler, I'm actually doing a ranking of them for October. That's one of my October videos.
Right.
Guaranteed, there was one that I thought was kind of decent. The others, I'm just like, I get you have something to work with because The Crow, it can bring back anybody. So yeah, sure, it could do it over and over and over again if injustice is there. But just none of them had the heart or soul that the first one had, and at least two of them went off on this really weird supernatural tangent, and I'm like, dude, why? I'm sorry, but like, I don't hate Wicked Prayer as much as everybody else does. Not to say I think it's amazing. It's not. It's still weird. But I also have this kind of fascination with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, so that kind of sold me on that one.
Yeah.
But rewatching it last year, I'm like, oh my god, if anybody watches this film in 2019 or 2020, that film is getting fucking cancelled.
Oh, really?
Because you have hired, and you've literally hired an entirely Spanish cast to play Native Americans.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I'm like, y'all fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you literally cast any other brown-skinned person except a Native American to play fucking Native Americans. And I'm just like, oh my god. So, like, watching it the first time around, I'm just like, okay, this isn't the world's best film, but whatever, I get it, and it's kind of fun. And then, because I was younger, and then you get older, and I'm just like, where are the Native Americans? I'm like, oh wait, they were wiped out by white people, of course. Stupid me.
And
like, I should have put that all together.
Yeah, I didn't even bother with that. Like, I saw that, was the second sequel, was that City of Angels? I mean, sorry, the first sequel, technically.
Yeah, I think the second one was City of Angels.
Yeah, like, I remember... Actually, funnily enough, I remember, because, you know, working in a cinema at the time, like, after the first one impacted my life in such a profound way, the sequel was announced and everything, and we used to do these costume promos at work, like, where we'd get dressed up as characters and go around the centre handing out flyers and stuff. And I remember the day the movie came out, you know, I had a black trench coat, so they got me to dress up as you know, the character, and like got the face paint, did everything. I was just like, oh my god, I'm so into this. I was like going around handing out flyers, and people were like, you know, oh, is it a good movie? I'm like, oh, it's gonna be amazing, you know. And I vividly remember like going back and like, you know, getting washed up and everything, and like going into the first session of the film and sitting there, and just halfway through I'm just like, I feel like Hollywood has pinned me to the ground and is just taking a giant shit on my chest right now. And it was bad. I wanted to go and find every single person I'd given a flyer to and just go, look, I'm just going to take that back. Like, don't go see the film, okay? And after that, I was just like, I can't watch these films. I think I saw maybe the first episode of the TV series because I am a really big fan of Mark Dacascos. I love that guy. He is up there with my most favorite on-screen martial artist, maybe even my favorite. I fucking love the guy, and so I gave it a shot, but I just could, like, that... I mean, that first film is my number 3 most favorite movie of all time. You know, that is how much I love it. Like, out of the tens of films that I've seen in my lifetime,
I don't know if you saw when I posted my very short, like 50-second Halloween teaser trailer on my channel, like teasing everything. Like, I dropped so many hints of like content that or at least movies or franchises or things I'm going to talk about in October. And I was just like, let's see how many people can guess based on the clips. Some were easy, some were hard. And so people were like, yeah, I can see The Exorcist, and I can see this. Nobody wrote The Crow.
Oh, wow.
Despite the fact it's a fucking clip of Brandon Lee saying, "Mother is the name for God on the lips and hearts of all children." I'm like, he's right there in your fucking face saying one of the most iconic quotes.
Yeah.
And none of y'all said The Crow.
Oh, that hurts. That actually hurts. Wow.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, seriously. They got The Exorcist when the clip from The Exorcist I picked was of the cab driving up to the house in the middle of the night. They got The Exorcist from that. Yeah. I did not even show the moment where the priest gets out of the car.
Right.
Just the cab in the mist. And they all went, Exorcist.
Oh my
God.
God.
Give you one of Brandon Lee's most iconic moments, and nobody went, oh, The Crow. I was gutted by that. I'm like, you suck.
People are jerks. So how'd you go, Ash? At the end of episode 29, what was the score? Come on.
I ended on 6 points, which was far better than I thought that I would do for myself. So I was quite impressed to get 6 out of 15. John ended on 9.5, originally 10, but he did ask for a hint, so that dropped down to 9.5. So comparatively, I didn't do too bad.
Well, yeah,
I'd say I
'cause-
kept closer to his score than anybody else he's gone up against.
And the previous two, he got 14 and 19. So, that's...
Yeah, but he also had less questions to work with this time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, still, I'd say I did pretty damn well.
You did indeed.
I think I may have actually scored more points in this than the previous two championship games I did.
Yeah, you did.
I'm still gutted about the superheroes round.
Well,
I thought I knew my shit. I'm sorry I don't know that Howard Stark bought a can of sauerkraut for his pregnant wife.
Even I
I'm
didn't know
sorry.
that. I had the scene in my head, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck was it? Like, yeah, no, they were tough questions, but look, no,
Nasty.
I mean, overall, I think, just the fact that you're still doing this when you're in such bad shape, when your entire world is falling apart around you, is entirely commendable. Like, I know I'm always giving you praise for doing what you do, but now more than ever, like, seriously, I think I speak on behalf of everybody, all 12 people who watch your show, that we really appreciate what you're doing. So big round of applause for you. This is everybody clapping through me right now. Hey! Except
That's
Bongo.
a sex act.
Except Bongo, because he's a dick. But
That's a sex act right there.
I didn't say I'm giving you the clap. Oh, never mind. Anyway.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. But anyway,
right.
we have now... Dan has now caught up on those episodes. Good on Dan.
Yay!
Well done, Dan.
I know. About fucking
You
time.
did it.
I did it.
And
I'm doing the same thing though. Like, next time we do this, I'm going to watch the episode like just before, or the night before or something. Like, I'm not going to leave it like a week beforehand or something. So this was good.
This is what I do when watching episodes, watching movies for Switch Movies.
Yeah, this felt better for me, actually, like really having a fresh memory of everything that happened. So yeah,
that helps.
It does help. All right.
But now we have 4 competitors in the Hall of Fame, which means the Battle Royale is around the corner, and all I have to do is schedule it. The Battle Royale, so for the 12 people who listen to this podcast, you're now getting the exclusive that nobody else is going to know. Battle Royale will be happening eventually. I'm maybe going to try and do it this month or next month. It'll consist of 3 episodes where we have 2 competitors go against each other, and then 2 competitors go against each other, and the winners of those episodes will then go head to head to see who ultimately is the best of our Hall of Famers. And I have things in store to really challenge my competitors. If people thought the Redemption series was challenging, well, Battle Royale is going to be even tougher.
So is that
we will have 4 rounds, not 3.
No.
We will have 4 rounds of movie trivia in the Battle Royale. First round will still be multiple choice, as always. Second round will still be that normal casual round. Lull them into a nice false sense of security. Before I really fuck them over with bringing back round 3's lightning round from the Redemption series, where they will have 60 seconds to try and answer all 10 questions if they can. But then we move on to round 4. Instead of doing bonus rounds in event of a tie, we do a 4th round. Not in case, there's just a 4th round, which I am dubbing after the name of the series. The round will be called Are You a Movie Oracle? Where I will ask each competitor questions from past episodes they competed in that they got wrong. And we'll see if they actually learn from their mistakes and can get them right the second time around. I can tell you, with at least one of those people, probably not. But it's going to be fun, and I'm expecting sweat. I want to see it.
Well, I'm just a little disappointed when you said Battle Royale. I was sort of thinking you were going to get all your contestants out to an island and just dump caches of weapons around, and, whoever the last person standing was, it's like, I'm ready for your Battle Royale! Movie Oracle. No, not really. Well, that sounds...
do that in the time of COVID.
Exciting. Well, maybe COVID could be a weapon. Maybe you could have like a jar of COVID-19 and you just like,
It's Trump's weapon.
touch yourself up with something like, right, I'm infected. Come at me, bitches. Yeah, or something.
That's pretty much everything in the US right now, and Melbourne at this point.
Yes,
so.
yes it is. All right, well, I gotta get going. But once again, thank you very much for having me as the co-host of this podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. No, actually, like this is, because sometimes I get bored shitless sitting here talking to you, but I had fun today. This was good. There was lots to talk about. No, it was three. There was 3 games we spoke about. And for all of those who are listening to this on Spotify, never mind. It was a visual gag. You missed it.
Remember, we had blasters as always. We didn't go off on as many tangents.
We didn't.
But don't worry, we'll probably make up for it in the next one, where hopefully in the next episode,
I'll get drunk.
I can drink. Hopefully, maybe I won't have this. I won't have Manny in me anymore.
Hey!
But whether you are listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Spotify, or you are watching on YouTube, there are always going to be links in the description part of all these episodes, and in them you can go and support Dan on his very many platforms and subscribe to him on YouTube, where you can, watch him do just some really insane shit on that channel.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
And my cat.
I may have to worry about, calling up and for an intervention for him soon. But anyway, that's besides the point. And then maybe you can, maybe consider, checking out more of my stuff. I've got links there too. Maybe consider checking out my Patreon, where you get a lot of content, early or exclusive content, because I'm that nice a bitch.
Yeah.
But that is it for today. We will catch you in the next podcast for more insanity, way more than today, because we don't have to try and...
Alright, I will get drunk on the next one. I will actually drink throughout the podcast, okay?
Shots!
Screw shots, I'm just going straight from the bottle. That's how I roll.
And on Putty's note, that is the end of that. We will see you in the next one. Bye!
Bye, everyone!